This is the first nice-ish guitar that I've ever owned. If you don't know, Rob Chapman is this regular English dude.
What do you bloody want, eh? You want to see the bandit play some new shit, eh?
A few years ago, I think in 2011 or 2010, he decided that he wanted to work with his viewers to make, I guess, the ultimate guitar, the ultimate budget guitar anyway. And this is what came out of it. So this particular guitar was purchased from Riff City Guitar. I'm in America, and they're one of the main dealers around here, or in this country. They're, first of all, a really cool company. They are in Minnesota, so they're, they got that natural niceness to them, I guess. When I got this one, I knew that they did a thing where they put a cookie in with their guitar. I specifically requested a chocolate chip cookie, and they made that request, so I was really happy about that. As far as the actual guitar itself goes, let's start off with the looks department. This particular one is the trans black finish, and honestly, it's way too dark. Well, I think when people want to buy a translucent finished guitar, the reason why is because they want to see the wood. This trans black, some of them online you'll look up and they look absolutely beautiful. There's just this super bright, binding, reveal binding type thing here. This black is more of a gray, so it just pops. This one is very dark. I'm kind of doubting that you'll even be able to see the translucency on camera unless I get it really close. The only time you can really see the wood is if you look at the binding. You can look at it and it shows I get what I'm guessing is the mahogany. The back is also a transparent type thing, but even that you can't really see very much. It's you have to look so close onto this body to be able to see the wood. Another weird little thing, if you play this guitar in the sunlight for a long time, hours and hours, the nut and this little Chapman Guitars thing, they will yellow. They're supposed to be white. Mine has turned into this kind of ugly vintage-ish, aged yellow type color, aged white. Where this guitar shines is how solidly it feels and how great it sounds. It has a humbucker. So that's going to take care of your rock and roll type department of things. This humbucker is really good for 70s rock up to hard rock. It's not quite a metal pickup, personally, in my experience, in the sense that I used this as a down-tuned guitar for a short period of time. And it seemed like it got kind of muddy as far as it lost the definition once you started getting those lower tunings on here. In standard though, it's really cool. It's great for 80s metal, any type of hard blues type stuff, or whatever else you feel like you would use a humbucker for. The two single coils, plus the fact that you can coil tap it with a push-pull on the tone knob, allows for just a huge range of blues, funk, almost jazz. You could use it for jazz, but I know most jazz guys prefer to have a humbucker. When you put together the way it looks with the way that these all function and the way that it all feels, it just feels so well put together. The frets are nice and big. I believe they're jumbo frets, which for me is really important. I'm really into metal and stuff like that, so when it comes to doing bending and all that stuff, the last thing I would personally want is flat frets or very small frets. These are pretty large. I think they're still bigger. They're not, I wouldn't call them quite extra jumbo, huge, but they are very spacious as far as kind of separating your finger from the wood and not giving you all that contact. This is a weird thing that's a personal preference of mine, but I usually play with 9-gauge strings. This guitar feels like it demands 10-gauge strings with the weight of the guitar and just the way it kind of puts itself together. When you put 9s on it, it actually feels kind of awkward. It has that nice slinky smooth feel if you like playing with 9s and you like having that bendability and all that stuff, but it does feel strange. The tremolo on here is a Wilkinson W something something something. It's a long WVPCR, something like that. It's just kind of a vintage style trem type thing. I have mine set up to be floating just because I like doing a little vibrato on it. If it's floating, if you want to use it as a floating tremolo, you can, and it's fine. But in order to have maximum tuning stability, I would recommend making sure that your nut's nice and lubricated and that you have locking tuners. My biggest complaint with this guitar, other than the look stuff that I'm not a huge fan of, is the weight. I would call it Les Paul territory weight. I know a lot of people like playing a heavy guitar, and I understand why. It does feel like you're playing a more rigid instrument. I play in something at school where we have to have rehearsals that are like at least an hour. And last year I had to play at rehearsals that were like hours long, like 2 to 3 hours long. When you're standing and you have the weight of this pulling you down for 3 hours, I had shoulder pains last year because of it. If you really don't want a super heavy guitar but you love these, get the Swamp Ash version. So this is on the Budget Musician. Why is this a budget guitar? This guitar is about $570 in the US. Used, if you decided to buy one used, these usually go for between $400 and $450. That's like what I've seen typical for ML1s. If you wanted one guitar that could do everything that you needed it to do, that's why to me this is budget, because you get one heck of a guitar that's not being sold like everywhere and all over the place, and you're getting something that's just going to be totally solid. This is an excellent guitar if you want to start taking your playing really seriously and you're like, I'm going to start getting down and dirty, I'm going to be practicing every day as much as I can. I want to have a nicely set up guitar, I'm going to start learning how to set up my guitar myself. And the reason I say that is because it's a trustable guitar. This isn't a guitar that you can feel like is going to be holding you back from being better. I hope this helps you with any future guitar-related purchases that you'll plan on making. I'd highly recommend checking out this guitar and other Chapman-related products, just because of the philosophy behind what they do. Thanks for watching. This has been The Budget Musician, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.